Hey, welcome to the Renovation Nation, the next episode of Return from the Dead, the property or full restoration project in Marysville. I'm getting ready to leave to go out there. I have no idea what to expect at this moment. I know that the roof is done. The outside has been done as far as the siding and everything. Basically sealed up for rain. Not sure how much of the interior is complete because I know the next phase was to be putting in all the insulation and then to put up with the drywall. Once they get to that phase, it's kind of like on a quick finish toward the end. So I'm kind of excited to meet the general contractor out there. I'm heading out there right now. But just before I go out there in the next scene, make sure that you click on the subscribe button, hit the notification bell, share this to all your friends. Any comments that you might have, just feel free to leave them. We want to build up this channel. If you hit the notification, you'll know when new content is coming up. We're doing this all in real time. And of course, when you share it, it'll help build up this channel. Thank you, and let's see what happens next. I'll see you at the property. Hey, so I'm at the property right now, and I've got Jim Chmielewski here. He came out to the property with me. We're taking a look at it. And now the biggest concern we had in the last episode was making sure that the home was waterproof, weatherproofed at least because of rain and stuff like that. And what happened not too long ago over this last week, we had a horrendous rain coming through. And so what was done in this house was enough to, help, prevent any issues with it. It's rainproofed and everything. There's a roof on it. And let's take a look and see what we have now. So, John, as I'm seeing right now, we don't have the siding on yet, but we have some sort of a wrap on it. Is that wrap is a waterproofing?
Correct, yeah. So it's a Tyvek exterior wrap. What it does is allow the house to breathe, so any moisture that gets behind it can actually get through it. But any water that hits the face of it doesn't allow it to go penetrate through, sheets off and dries. So it allows the house to stay dry and safe, but also breathe so that you don't have mold or mildew issues that can be created.
Nice. And then, but the roof, it has a roof on there.
Yep, has a roof, so we're fully got the top cap on it. It's watertight, weathertight, ready to go. We also, for the client, making sure that they're happy with our vision too, because we learn really quickly that when we're working with a lot of people, we do this every day. We know how things look, but a lot of times, clients, that's not something they do every day. So we want to make sure that what we talk about is actually what they're envisioning as well. So you can see on the front window here, we've done a little mock-up of the trim style and the siding that we'll be using, so that the client can approve that. And if they're good to go on that, then we'll get it all busted out for them real quick.
So we'll take a look at that a little closer in just a second. But I also noticed some of the fascia up here. When I look at the top, fascia hasn't been done on that yet. But here it looks like there's some sort of fascia. What kind of materials normally would go on this, or what's the story behind
this?
Every
home's a little bit different on the materials we would use. Depending on, if the house has gutters or doesn't have gutters and different things like that. But a lot of times with this house, it would have gutters on it, or it's going to have a brand new gutter set on it. So that's really covering a lot of your rafter tails and things like that. The house, a lot of the areas did not have fascia, but we like to add it. A lot of times we use as a basic wood, like a pine or something like that, that will prime and seal and paint, of course. But just a basic wood that kind of helps protect the end of the rafter tails as time goes on, so that, if water does ever get behind it, it's, kind of becomes like a consumable product that is easier to place than the actual ends of the roof trusses or the roof rafters.
So on a house like this, where dimensions are not exactly to modern day, I mean, what challenges do you come across with finding normal cuts of wood materials?
We have to get creative, definitely, because yeah, this house has a lot more what's called true dimensional lumber, where the 2x4s are actually 2" by 4", where traditionally now they're 1.5" by 3.5". So that difference in size, all the other building materials that are created these days, are supposed to match up with that. This, being that it's different, we got to find products that, maybe have a little different dimensions. Maybe we need to trim them down so we get oversized material. But at the same part, we have a budget to stay within, so we got to make sure that we don't have too much waste and things like that. So what we ended up doing, because the client was wanting a little nicer fascia board, is we actually found it was a shiplap product, and we were able to trim one of the edges off to have a nice square edge, but it's already pre-primed on both sides, a nice straight material, so as you can see, it looks a lot cleaner.
So let's take a look around the windows. Sure. And stuff. Now, all the new windows are in. They're all sized to code.
Yes, they've all been inspected and approved by the county.
Uh-huh.
So yeah, these are all newer low-E vinyl window, which replaced the original single pane dual hung windows that were in the house. Not efficient at all, really. Just kind of kept the weather out.
Okay.
These airtight. They have a good UV protection as well, so heat transfer into the home, things like that, are going to be minimized quite a bit. And then as far as the materials go, siding, we're using a hardy plank siding, so it's actually a fiber cement product. It actually has no wood in there, so theoretically a lifetime product. It's bug resistant, rot resistant, dry rot resistant, things like that. So you're not going to have those issues with termites or rot over the years. And then the trim, something that we're finding too recently, unfortunately, just with quality control and materials that are out there, finding good straight lumber that we can trim out a window and make it look clean has been very difficult. So going to more modern products, like this is actually an OSB product, so the face of this is a wood look trim, but the multiple layers behind it is actually an OSB plywood, not your traditional solid pine or poplar or different things like that.
It looks really similar to the same material in modern houses that are being used today.
This is very much what you see in new construction homes all the time.
So I mean, it has colors on it now.
Yes.
Is this the colors that the home is anticipated to be in? I mean, how does that?
So being that this home is in a historical district, we did actually have to have the paint colors. We had a certain palette that we had to stay within and have those approved by the city. So right now, these are just the pre-primed colors that, these coming from the factory, but the trim will be a white trim, and then we'll be doing like a lighter gray on the siding to match the historical neighborhood and stuff like that.
Oh, okay. So the nice thing about it is pre-primed.
It is pre-primed, yeah. These surfaces are prepped and ready to paint, other than us just filling in, some of the nail holes and things like that, so that we just minimize, again, any potential water intrusion over the years. These are ready for paint.
And knowing, if homeowner decides that this is the product you want to use, I mean, I'm assuming that's why you only did this one little section.
Yes.
Just to get their approval. Once they do that, what would be expected time for the rest of the house to have all this siding on it, assuming there's no supply chain issues or?
Correct. We hope that within 2 weeks or less that we would have the house completely trimmed and fully sided and ready to paint.
Nice. And I noticed when we go up the top, there's some of the original charm,
yes,
some of the original stuff, and of course this will be all kind of incorporated into the scheme of things and still kind of keep it with the original design and historical and everything else.
Yeah. And that was something too, that a lot of the original trim features and design of this house need to be restored or kept, because again, it's in that historical district. So
nice.
We're doing our best to blend the old with the new.
So the last time we were here, there was some done on the interior.
Yes.
My understanding is there was just a little bit more.
Correct.
Got past all the inspections.
Correct.
But the exterior and the roof and everything is what really, put the attention on. So,
Right, yeah.
but let's take a look and see on the inside and see where we're at.
Sounds good.
Oops, I got caught. Well, I could tell you it's still pretty well insulated because it's a little warmer outside.
Yes.
It's definitely cooler in here.
Definitely, yes. I mean, originally this house had no inside wall insulation at all, really no attic insulation. So we brought this house up to full current codes. We also did a lot of air sealing because before, like when we took the siding and the, lath and plaster off, like literally you could just see outside in many areas, a lot of little holes, a lot of cracks, stuff like that. So we went through all those areas, air sealed everything with foam, or if we need to add, wood and stuff like that to patch up holes, fixed all that. And then now I said in the walls, floor, ceiling, attic is all gonna have insulation.
Nice. Okay, so I do see some insulation up in the ceiling up there.
Yes.
Is there any other, in the back walls? Exterior walls?
All exterior walls are now insulated.
Let's take a look.
And definitely
So
much nicer.
that kind of helps also with any kind of moisture or anything like
Correct,
that?
yeah.
Or
And again, yeah, these products are designed to breathe, and the house is always going to continue to breathe some, but the design of these products are to, again, help insulate, so that keeps, in the summer, the cool air in, and in the winter, the cold air out. As well as when things are breathing, it's allowing this to happen so that we're not trapping moisture and creating mildew and mold issues.
so what comes to mind is like a down blanket in a sense,
Exactly.
where you have the thickness of it. It allows that air to kind of flow through and to breathe and not trap in any moisture. Yet it's that space that helps capture heat
Agreed.
or keep it cool if need be.
Absolutely.
So, okay, well that's neat.
One other safety feature too that we talked about was kind of like a code upgrade. We'll say that the engineers and architects, as well as the city, was wanting to see is fire blocking. So this house had no fire blocking really throughout it, and again, which is interesting. The lumber that was available back then, these 2x4s are probably 40 feet long. And go from all the way from subfloor straight up, and there was just a full pathway all the way there, and God forbid if there was a fire in this house and it started in a wall, it'd easily be able to climb all the way up to the second story, to the attic, and be very aggressive.
And so what we're talking about fire blocking is these
Right here.
wood pieces.
Yeah.
Should a fire start somewhere down here inside the wall or whatever, it gets blocked.
Yeah, so it would help
Along there.
stop that, hopefully slow the fire down long enough for maybe it to be taken care of. But now 4 feet off the ground on the first floor, between the first story and the second story is now fire blocked, and 4 feet up on the second story, and between the attic and the ceiling is all fire blocked now to help with that. So
And also I see around the windows as well, but you also had to redo the windows to meet code.
correct. So there's a balance there with one, height of windows in bedrooms, things like that. There's egress codes that don't allow us to put the window too tall. So anything over 43 inches in this area is the top of the windowsill here. So some of these we had to modify to stay within that area, and then also too balancing the amount of light that's coming into the home, because of Title 24 with energy and efficiency and stuff like that, they want to see a certain amount of light come in, but also not too much, because then that hurts the efficiency of the home with insulation, things like that. So again, that blending that new and that old.
Yeah, so let's talk about that just for a minute. I mean, and I'm gonna kind of use it from a gearhead point of view, where somebody really likes a classic car and they want to restore it. Some people restore just to absolute original, and that's really a not good safe vehicle anyway. Maybe good in parades or on display, but for everyday driver use, may not necessarily be as safe. So then they have resto mods.
Yep.
They're going to be something that in homes, whenever you do a major restoration of turn of the century homes, you still have to be compliant with today's code. So in essence, it's like a resto mod.
Very much so, exactly. It's like we upgraded the glass in the car. We could say, instead of just being the basic stuff, now it has more efficiency on the glass so that it doesn't allow the heat to transfer. We've got insulation. Some people, they'll do sound systems in a car, and if you ever heard a car going down the street that just, has the sound going and the whole car's vibrating and sounds horrible, well, there's also options that you can put in certain types of insulation that calm all that down, keep the sound inside the house. Kind of what we did with the insulation here. Same with this fire blocking, kind of like a roll cage in a car. Maybe you want that car to handle a little better, to be stiff on the road, or if you're going to race it, to be safe. This fire blocking helps, like I said, if there was an issue, as well as adding this lumber helps with some of the rocking and shear. So really it's made this house stiffer as well.
Right. And of course, goes without saying, as far as electrical, up to code, you're not using iron or lead pipes or anything like that.
No.
And matter of fact, using more modern materials,
Absolutely.
more efficient, cheaper, last longer, that sort of thing.
Agreed. Yeah. No, we started fresh when it came to the plumbing and electrical in this home. Of course, the home was built in the late 1800s, early 1900s. Had some knob and tube at some period of time, probably in the 40s or 50s. There was some sort of remodel done where the electrical was upgraded then, but to meeting today's standards wasn't close. So we
Right.
just started fresh, all new, electrical throughout the home, brand new 200 amp panel that'll have the proper breakers and everything in it. Plumbing, all of the old cast iron and terracotta plumbing got taken out, and that got all replaced with ABS drain pipes, which is nice because they're more stable, they glue together, so the connection is a much nicer mechanical connection, so less potential issues of separation and root intrusion, things like that. All of the supply lines are now PEX with copper stub outs, so that the part that the client sees or uses is going to be a lot more durable behind the walls. There's going to be less connections, less joints and things like that could have issues, as well as the product itself is a lot more stable to work with.
Okay. And then some of the misconceptions about, and let's just kind of look at it. I see some of the flooring here is not like, wood sheeting or plywood planks or anything.
Yep.
It looks more like an OSB.
It is.
And of course that's building standard, but is
Right.
one any better than the other? I mean, why is a preferred use of OSB?
So, again, when this home was built, the kind of wood that was used, the techniques, the dry time, things like that, allowed for the materials they used here to be very stable, very strong. Today's building standards and just technology, they're trying to pump things out as fast as possible. So those traditional building materials, they're not getting the dry time that some of this wood was in this house. So we find when we bring it here, it's not flat, it's not level, it's not straight. It becomes very difficult for us to use, because when it comes time to actually putting the final flooring on this, the surface needs to be flat.
Right.
So using more modern products like OSB and things like that, it's a more stable product. So when we get it, it's straight, it's flat, it's level, as well as when temperatures and climates change, the product doesn't change. Where natural woods, they're going to expand and contract and change, and sometimes that leads to creaking in floors or little bumps or humps or things like that. With these products that we're using and how we're installing them, they don't move.
And it shouldn't be confused with chipboard or anything like that.
Exactly. Yeah. And again, these products are rated for what they're used for. There are some fiber boards or things like that, furniture board, that are used for maybe cabinetry or other situations, but they're not very good with moisture. If they do get wet, they're just going to end up crumbling and falling apart. These materials are designed to be in the conditions they're in. They can handle moisture, they can handle dry, they can handle temperature changes, things like that.
They're not going to warp. They contain
Exactly.
resins and stuff like that, and all that other kind of good stuff. And I see it's, I don't know if that's being used in the wall or just leaned up against it.
Just leaned up right now. It's all
okay.
just a little spare piece that
Okay.
was hanging out there. Yeah.
Well, nice. Anything on the upstairs new or?
No, other than just the insulation fire blocking, which you can see down here. but everything else is, we're just ready to get going. So hopefully here in the next 2 weeks or less, we'll have the siding completed, so the house will be completely water and weather tight for the winter. And then as soon as that happens, we're going to get to drywall. And as soon as drywall's up, this house is going to just get moving. All the finishing touches start then.
Yeah, and once the drywall goes, then then all the finer stuff gets put in, the flooring, the paint, and it'll be a pretty quick process at that point.
So I'm hoping probably within 6 weeks or less, that we're done with this home and can turn the keys back over to the client and move on.
So the next phase, I think, hopefully will come out is when all the exterior is done.
Then probably drywall at the same time. I'd say, come back out. The outside will be complete, and inside will be hopefully drywall, and we can talk about that and go from there.
Okay. Well, until next time, thank you for John for sharing with me, and thank you for watching this on Renovation Nation, the home left for dead. Don't forget, hit the subscribe button, hit the notification bell, because when a new video comes out, you'll be notified. Like it, like I said, subscribe it, and share it to your friends, because we want to build this channel. Until next time, we'll see what happens. See you then.